What's up, ladies and gentlemen, it's Michael here, and welcome back to FudgeMuppet, or welcome for the first time to the channel. This week we have quite the unique build for you guys, and she's even more badass than ever thanks to a fully fleshed out backstory, realistic role-playing, and most importantly, multiple new skills and a variety of new perk choices. This will totally change up the way you play. This build is the Bloodrider. The Bloodrider makes her presence known on the battlefield better than anyone. She is one of Tamriel's greatest horse riders, and combined with her deadly accuracy with a crossbow, she can skewer heads, pinning them into the wall and killing them instantly, all while she's galloping at high speeds, trampling those fools who tried to get within melee range. This Dunmer grew up in the unforgiving province of Hammerfell, but has made her name known across the continent for her unbelievable abilities. On top of that, she served as a mercenary for one of Cyrodiil's most prestigious mercenary companies, forging a reputation from blood and gold. And this mercenary is just as good at taking gold as she is at taking lives. It's known that her stare alone has intimidated many clients to pay considerably more for her work. Before we get into the build, don't forget to check out the description where you'll find timestamps to help you navigate throughout the video. With that said, let's get right into the important stuff with the Bloodrider's race, standing stone, and stats. The Bloodrider is a dark elf. This means she has a built-in 50% resistance to fire, and it also means she can call upon her ancestor's wrath at any time once per day for 60 seconds to deal 8 points of fire damage per second to any opponents who come too close. Now, as a Dunmer, she also gets an innate +5 bonus to light armor, which will come in handy for the Bloodrider's skills later on. Now, using the Lover Stone in the early game will ensure that all of her various skills are leveled up quickly, but once that's out of the way, you guessed it, switch to the Atronach Stone. This Dunmer, unlike most, doesn't use magic, so she receives only benefits from the Atronach Stone. 50% spell absorption is incredibly useful for any character, except a Conjurer of course, and as a build who focuses primarily on taking out the ranged opponents first, those projectile firing mages won't be causing you any headaches with this stone. As for the stat spread, the Bloodrider will need 70% health to keep her alive in her light armor, and then 30% stamina, allowing her to zoom in and slow time with the crossbow on and off horseback. The Bloodrider was born in the coastal city of Tanith in Hammerfell, quite far from the native home of the Dunmer. She was raised in a small community of dark elf migrants, maintaining some small facets of her dark elf heritage, but for the most part, she was brought up under the Redguard cultural influence. As a result, she spent quite a lot of her youth just outside the city walls, learning to ride horses. She volunteered at the stables for a child's income and cherished working with these animals. By the time she reached adulthood, she was a master on horseback. In fact, she was so gifted for her age that even the wealthier Redguards who could afford their own thoroughbred pedigree horses couldn't rival her performance. Genetics obviously played a part. What was different about adulthood in her own brain was that she realized that she needed to find a way to support herself and be independent. She found her gaze locked on the horizon to distant lands and cities where her skills of horse riding could be put to better use. Tanith was her home, but there was little here for her and she had no interest in becoming a seafaring trader. So she eventually bought a horse from the stable and took up work as a traveling courier, spanning the reaches of Hammerfell and Cyrodiil. Scarce few couriers could ride as fast as her, so when it came to urgent deliveries and letters from affluent noblemen looking for favor in other counties, the Bloodrider was the best courier around. It paid decently, however it was nothing amazing and did take up the majority of her time. Being a courier, she delivered many different things, but one particular job caught her interest. She was given a letter with a special red wax seal displaying a rearing horse, and she was told to ride with haste to Anvil. Upon arrival, she watered her horse and tied it outside the Flowing Bowl Tavern. Inside, a stalwart-looking Nord sat expectantly in the corner. This man was Skjor Bloodrider, commander of the mercenary company aptly named the Bloodriders. As she sat across the table from the poised commander, he opened the letter. She nearly instinctively diverted her gaze, but Skjor didn't seem to be attempting to hide the contents of the letter at all. He unfolded the parchment and turned it to face her. It was blank. Had she traveled from Hammerfell to Anvil to deliver an empty piece of paper? Skjor had not been interested in a letter from his contact. Instead, he had heard of the Dunmer courier with impressive equestrian talents, and he wanted her in his mercenary company. He offered her a generous cut of the company's profits if she helped out after undertaking training, and she accepted gratefully. For the next 3 years, Skjor took the Bloodrider under his wing, enhancing her already exceptional horse riding skill by teaching her to be deadly from the saddle. She became proficient with the crossbow and could swing a sword with sublime accuracy, all while traveling at breakneck speeds. The next few years were mutually beneficial for the company and the Bloodrider. At the very beginning, it was hard for the Bloodrider to grasp combat, but obviously she turned out to be a very sound investment for Skjor. One day, a contract contract emerged on the coast of Anvil, dealing with some notorious pirates for a large payoff. The Bloodrider was skeptical. Their company was known for their skill on horseback, and they would be out of their comfort zone aboard a merchant ship. But Skjor was adamant, his eyes glazed by the prospect of a huge sack full of septums. The pirates proved to be far deadlier than even their profits could justify, and the Bloodrider members were slain in droves. The captain of the ship loaded his essential loot and personnel onto a lifeboat, attempting to escape the chaos. The Bloodrider noticed the act of cowardice and fired multiple bolts at them as the lifeboat was lowered into the water. After killing these men and accepting her inevitable defeat aboard the ship, the Bloodrider screamed to Skjor, gesturing for him to get in the boat with her, and they did. Skjor spat over the edge of the raft, watching his men get massacred as they were left on board. Only 5 of the company remained, 3 who had stayed back in Anvil, and then the Bloodrider and Skjor. Skjor decided that this would be the catalyst for the Bloodriders to start anew in Skyrim. In his homeland, civil war was rife, and there would be plenty of work and countless military-aged men and women searching for an excuse to take up arms. The plan seemed indisputable, so the 5 remaining Bloodriders rode for Skyrim. As they ascended high into the Dural Mountains, the snows were heavy, reaching the knees of the struggling horses eventually. They were forced to persevere on foot, with their lighter weight ensuring their own legs didn't sink through the snow below. They didn't have the rations to wait out the harsh weather. They had to make it to Skyrim soon. The Bloodrider made no effort to hide her weakness as the frost penetrated her bones through her thick cloak. Only Skjor maintained the facade of comfort. He was a stubborn Nord after all. As they approached the border, it seemed like they would make it without any losses, and morale was rising once again. But over the top of the slope, the Bloodrider could now see a pursuit headed directly for them. There were several Stormcloaks and a larger group of Imperials just behind them, and they were out for blood. A skirmish erupted, and the 5 worn-out Bloodriders were caught in the crossfire. Their resistance was futile, and her companions were brought down by the Imperial archers. As Skjor lay dying in the snow, the Bloodrider was forced to yield, dropping her weapon and submitting herself to the will of the Empire. Assuming that the mercenaries were under the Stormcloak's payroll, the Bloodrider was bound and thrown in a wagon to be taken for judgment in Helgen. After escaping Helgen, the Bloodrider will keep the motives of her mercenary company alive. She will seek work and make money as a warrior for hire. After her encounter with the Imperial, she will understandably be prejudiced against them for their rash actions, taking no precautions to avoid collateral damage. However, growing up around Non-Dunmer and Tanith and serving with the multicultural Bloodriders also meant that she had no tolerance for racism, making the Stormcloaks equally as appalling to her. Deciding the fate of the Civil War will come down to your own discretion. Likely it'll come down to your own experiences role-playing the Bloodrider, but as a mercenary she will have to reconcile her disdain for one faction in order to make money in the Civil War. An important thing to remember is that finding a horse in a city's stables is the first priority for the Bloodrider, so make sure you get onto that straight away. As for factions, she will follow the main storyline. Gaining a powerful reputation around Skyrim will not only stop any potential anti-Dunmer racists from speaking their ugly opinions, but it will also make her potentially the most sought-after mercenary in the entire province. Naturally, this expands into the Dragonborn DLC, where she'll also be motivated to explore Solstheim, taking on new jobs and meeting Dunmer, experiencing the culture she learned so much about from her small community in Tanith. She'll join the Dawnguard, considering it one big mercenary contract to deal with the vampire clan, and as a seasoned warrior, the companions will draw her attention. You can justify whether or not you want to cure lycanthropy based on your experiences and the backstory we've provided. Lastly, as we mentioned, there's the Civil War questline, which can be quite profitable for a mercenary. She has plenty of reasons to dislike both sides, so you do have some freedom here, but whatever side you pick, you'll be in it mostly for the gold. Now that we have the Bloodrider's backstory, role-playing, and factions, let's see how that'll affect her skills, perks, and her playstyle. The main skills for this build will be one-handed, archery, smithing, speech, and 2 new additions, light armor and block. You could probably tell the Bloodrider isn't a mage, so there's no spells to mention. As a result, we can get straight into the perks to take from each skill tree. First up, we have one-handed. Whether she's charging by on horseback, swinging her blade at those she hasn't trampled, or in the dirt fighting in close quarters, the Bloodrider would be no merc if she couldn't take down foes with a blade, and under the guidance of Skjor Bloodrider, her expertise is undeniable. From the one-handed skill tree, go for the middle branch up to Savage Strike. Those perks will ensure you pack the punch of a true Bloodrider when you draw your sword. Next up, we have the Bloodrider's fundamental skill. While perched atop her horse, or simply whenever she isn't face to face with the enemy, she can use her eagle eye to take them down with her crossbow. And from the archery skill tree, we suggest taking the lot. The only thing is that you should only take the first rank of critical shot, but other than that, grab everything. Smithing is our next skill, and this one is great upgrade to ensure all of the Bloodrider's weapons and gear are as strong as possible. From this skill tree, take the right branch up to Ebony Smithing, and then grab Arcane Blacksmith in case you find an enchanted sword. The last of our original skills is Speech. As a mercenary and a former courier capable of making a living despite her inconsequential early life, the Bloodrider is no stranger to making money responsibly, so when she engages in battles of wit with local traders and merchants, she generally comes out on top. From this skill tree, focus on the entire left branch. Merchant is a useful perk here, as the Bloodrider will inevitably acquire all kinds of loot in her travels, so having any kind of trader purchase any kind of item is a massive bonus. Our first new skill is one that complements the Bloodrider's mobile agile playstyle. That is of course light armor. Putting 5 points into agile defender will make your light armor far more formidable, doubly so actually, as the perk increases armor ratings on light armor by 100%. And finally we have block. This skill adds a lot of new possibilities to the Bloodrider playstyle without actually requiring you to lug around a shield. The reason this is beneficial is because of perks like quick reflexes. If you're holding up your sword to block when a foe power attacks, time will slow down, potentially allowing the Bloodrider to duck, dip, dive, and dodge out of the way of all deadly incoming attacks. From this tree, we recommend getting the right branch up to Disarming Bash, and then of course quick reflexes. So with all these skills and perks outlined, here's how the Bloodrider will play. She'll come galloping into battle as a one-woman cavalry, sniping opposing archers with her crossbow, and then slashing melee opponents from the safety of her high saddle. When the ranged adversaries are dealt with and the rest are swarming you, you can dismount, picking them off with your sword. The new addition of block means that while doing this, you can bash them powerfully with your sword when it's in a blocking position, and you can avoid their heavy swings and blows using the quick reflexes perk. Obviously, horseback fighting isn't always an option, and you'll have to adjust accordingly. As for gear, the Bloodrider will wear Solitude Guard armor, hide boots, and hide braces. This combo makes for a realistic mercenary aesthetic while also having the hints of red that suit her Dunmer eyes and ferocious combat. If you can find any relevant enchanted jewelry, you should absolutely equip it, but other than that, just ensure it's all smithed up. The weapons of choice for the Bloodrider will be an ebony sword and an enhanced dwarven crossbow with the exploding dwarven firebolts. As you know, these will also need to be smithed up for the best results. If you find an enchanted ebony sword or want to enchant it anyway, go for it. And there you have it guys, subscribe to FudgeMuppet if you haven't already, and give the video a like if you enjoyed the Bloodrider. We're over in LA at the moment for E3, so if you haven't been following us on Twitter or haven't seen all of Bethesda's announcements yet, be sure to follow us there and on our other social media accounts. Links to those can be found in the description, but as always, thanks so much for watching. I've been Michael, and I look forward to nerding out with you again very soon.